So what would you look for? How do you know if somebody that you interact with in the grocery store, at the park, in a salon, through a cleaning service, um, maybe a student at a nearby school, how do you know if someone is at risk or falling victim to this thing that we call human trafficking? Here are some things that you need to learn and just open your eyes to and be aware of in case they're happening in your own community or you notice that someone exhibits these warning signs. First of all, avoiding eye contact. If someone seems depressed, if their mood is always down, if they seem withdrawn or isolated, and especially if there's someone who has not been this way, but then all of a sudden, based on the people that they're hanging out with, whether it's a teenager or a neighbor or a coworker or just somebody that you come in contact with, that you realize their mood has completely changed and they seem very, very down and withdrawn and isolated and very different, then that is something to be aware of. That's something to be careful of, and that's something to a situation where you would want to ask them, how are you doing? What's really going on? If there are signs of drug or alcohol use, unfortunately, when people are using other people as their property, essentially as their slaves, and these people don't have the same freedoms that you and I do, there's a lot of drugs and alcohol that is used in order to keep them in the state where they are, to keep them in a location where they are, to keep them actually functioning and being used as someone else's property. And you might have a question like, Lauren, what even is trafficking? Well, the reality is this is a form of modern day slavery. So people like you and I have lost their freedoms. They don't have the same freedoms that you and I have to work, to live, to move about, to even how their body is being used. There is someone else that has come into control of them and their freedoms. And so that has been ripped away from them, that has been stolen away from them. And it's a really terrible and awful thing, and something that we're very, very passionate about doing something about. Another thing that you would want to look out for is evidence of controlling relationships, even within family members. We have seen situations where there might be a man that comes into a salon always with another younger girl. If someone is just way too controlling of an adult or even a teen, and they are in control of their money, they're in control of their documents, they always know where they are, in a way that is overbearing, in a way that is unhealthy, in a way that is unnecessary. We're not talking about how a parent cares for their kid and always needs to know where they are. We're talking about maybe a 35, 40-year-old woman that just seems very timid and like someone else needs to know where she is at all times, and she's not allowed to go the normal places that someone would be able to go, or someone else is directing her steps and telling her where she needs to show up next. If a third party is always present or in control of their schedule or social interaction, so we talked about that. Lack of control of their own money or finances and or identification documents. If you happen to notice that someone is just not in control of their own money and they should be able to, or they're way too connected and tied to someone else dictating how that is being spent, then that could be a potential sign. Inappropriate dress for the weather or occasion, or they suddenly have expensive clothes and accessories. Unfortunately, traffickers, the people that are perpetrating these crimes, actually have a lot of money, because there's a lot of money in this criminal industry, and so they will actually buy things like shoes and nice purses and nice clothes and really, really treat the ladies or the individuals that are under their control. But of course, they're not healthy relationships, and these are all just false gifts that are really given to them in place of real healthy love and a real relationship. But if you notice that, someone has spent the weekend away and then all of a sudden they have a lot of expensive things, and someone else has bought all of them for them, these might be ways in which traffickers are luring them and or almost like compensating them for what it is that they are doing. Suspicious tattoos or branding showing ownership. If you ever notice a tattoo or some kind of mark on someone, whether it's, neck, I've even seen where a girl had a man's name across her forehead, arm, anywhere, a tattoo that shows ownership, someone else's name, or a crown, stamps, barcodes, things like that, that symbolize that they are almost like marked as someone else's property. That is something to be curious about and concerned about. Unexplained or conflicting stories or injuries. With the lady that we identified and that I helped to get connected with help, she actually would come in to the salon with bruises, like fingerprint bruises on her arms. She talked about how she had been hit across the jaw with something one time, and a lot of her stories didn't really make a lot of sense. And she would kind of like laugh or get really nervous when we asked more, hey girl, how did you get that bruise? Or just in caring for her. But if there's unexplained stories or conflicting stories or unexplained injuries, that is definitely a cause for concern. Another one that's on here is frequent movement or erratic schedule. So if you realize that someone doesn't know their whereabouts and they're kind of moving through your area, and they don't actually know what city they are in, or this is someone who all of a sudden is doing a lot of traveling or kind of like up and down the coast or all around a region, and someone else is kind of traveling with them and in charge of that, and it's very frequent, it's very erratic, and it doesn't seem normal, then that is something to look out for and be curious about. This is also something where predators are definitely active online, and so that's another place that it is very important to know about, to keep your children safe from. We have some things that we are launching this year and a whole nother series on that. If you're interested in more on like social media safety and online safety. But just know that traffickers can come in contact with people and through the internet or in person, through online ads or video games, or actually, in people's everyday life. Um, Traffickers are not limited to one socioeconomic status or race or age or gender. Realistically, there's all sorts of people that unfortunately are involved in this type of criminal activity, and we just believe that as educated people with a heart for loving people and helping to identify if something is going on in someone that we know, whether it be a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, someone who comes into somewhere that we work, or someone that we come in contact with just in our own community, that with our eyes open and knowing this information, we can actually help to identify when someone is going through something or they are in and under the control of someone that is not healthy.